Welcome to Five or Flop, a podcast for the best and worst historical fiction has to offer. I'm your host, Grace.
And I'm Erin, and each week we'll be reading a different historical fiction book to see if they're a five or a flop. Or, since you're catching us during our bonus seasons, we are watching a movie.
Yes, and this is the one. It needs no introduction. If you listen to the season, you probably guessed they'll definitely watch that. We did. We watched Gone with the Wind.
And we hosted a Southern food potluck for all of our friends, so we will be providing our thoughts on, who brought the best, who brought the worst. Actually, I don't think anyone brought anything bad.
Oh, no. It was a great turnout. And maybe our guest would agree. Santiago, do you agree?
It was incredible. I had the most delicious food. We had, ¿cómo se llama eso? The thing with the cornbread. The cornbread. I made a peach drink. We had the salad.
We had coleslaw.
Coleslaw, yeah. Whatever.
I made biscuits and gravy. Grace, you made damn sandwiches, which everyone will know what it is, but can you describe?
Yes, and perhaps not everyone will know what it is, even though they should, because they're so good.
I say that because I knew what they were. I didn't know they had a name.
Oh, okay. Well, we've always called them damn sandwiches, and they're ham and cheese on a Hawaiian, and then you pour over top a mixture of mustard, brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, and poppy seeds.
And it is delicious. I remember my great aunt made them one time. They were so good. What else did we have? Coleslaw. Pimento cheese, deviled eggs.
Oh, how could we forget deviled eggs?
And chocolate chess pie, I believe is the title.
Yes.
It was very chocolatey and it was very delicious.
Delightful. Delightful all around.
If we had to pick a favorite item of the day, that cannot be your own item.
Yes. I will say, I actually don't think I knew in advance that there was going to be biscuits and gravy. And that was one of my favorite things
Thank
ever.
You very much.
And so I showed up late and I was so pleased to see it there.
Thank you very much. I spent a good bit of time mostly grating butter for the biscuits. Santiago?
Probably the damn sandwiches.
Woo!
I'm so sorry. Like, when you left with them, I was like, God damn it, I wish I could have them.
We were so hoping you were going to leave them here. And
my lunch for the next day.
I will say, on paper, it sounds like the chocolate pie would be my favorite because anything chocolate. The deviled eggs were so good. I like deviled eggs. I don't love them. I loved these.
Deviled eggs it really does hit when people say, like, oh, could you just sit down and eat 12 hard-boiled eggs in one sitting? Like, no. But could I eat 24 deviled eggs? Probably.
Yeah, probably.
So, very happy. Always, all around. We set up the best possible environment for our screening of Gone with the Wind.
Absolutely. It really put us in the mood. And I think from here on out, whenever I have a potluck, it will only be themed.
Yeah.
Because it adds a level of commitment.
I love a theme. You're right. It makes people step up or step out.
Yes.
If you can't deliver, don't come.
Exactly.
Not that we don't want our friends to come, because we choose friends that deliver.
Or pick something up at the grocery store that's on theme.
Yeah.
Anyways, Santiago and I actually had another reason for watching this movie as well as the pod.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so we have this movie poster that Erin bought to me as like a Valentine's Day gift like 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
A long time ago. It says the 100 best movies. I don't know who made this list. Some of the movies are very questionable.
Supposedly, or at least Hannah's working theory, is that it's based off the IMDb top 100 films loosely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something like that.
So loosely meaning it's not.
Loosely meaning it is, but they don't pick like... For example, the IMDb list has both The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. This only has The Godfather. So they don't have, like, multiple movies from the same.
Like, there's a Star Wars movie on there. Okay.
There's a single Terminator. Yeah, things like that.
Okay.
And
it's been 3 years. I just counted last night. I believe we have 46 left to watch after
so
3 years.
Movies, yeah, and it's a scratch off. So every time we finish a movie, we scratch it off on the poster.
Well, also, I believe you're taking the long way around. So, like, it only has The Godfather on there, but you also watched Part 2, correct?
Yeah, so we still have to watch Part 3. So whenever there's a series, we do have to watch everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Gone with the Wind was on there. I knew it was going to be a long, daunting one because it is a very long movie, but this gave us opportunity.
I was going to say, I imagine it makes it easier when you have a secondary reason and also you can throw a little shindig.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I think we should get into talking about the movie.
Yes.
And Grace, I know this was one of your favorite, if not your favorite movie.
This is one of my, as I think I've said on the pod before, this is one of my 3 favorite movies. So I had a history with it. I've seen it like maybe within the last 6 months I've watched this movie. So I am quite familiar.
And I had not seen it, but I have read the book. And Santiago, what was your familiarity going in?
No familiarity at all. Just listening to your podcast episode about Gone with the Wind, but that's about it. It is. I knew that it has to do with the Civil War, of course, but I really don't have any context. It's said to be problematic, but it's a period piece. It's from the 30s, right? So not kind of going into it blind.
Mm. And we did actually also have, it was quite interesting to watch. Hannah and Jen in particular, obviously former hosts, everyone will remember, they knew what happened in the movie pretty much up until Atlanta burned. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they were completely blind. So that was very interesting because that's when all of the interpersonal drama begins.
That's kind of how I felt reading the book, except I didn't know about the Atlanta part either. So I just didn't know much at all.
Mm-hmm. You and I had the pleasure of already knowing in advance that unfortunately Bonnie Blue Butler was going to fall off her horse and break her neck and die.
Yeah.
And we could watch everyone else be extremely surprised that that was happening.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's how I felt reading the book.
It was gasped out loud all around the room.
Santiago, what were your takeaways from the movie?
It was a lot of movie. It was
Runtime is like almost 4 hours.
Yeah, almost 4 hours.
No, I think isn't it more than 4 hours?
A lot.
Potentially more than 4 hours.
I thought it's either like 10 minutes over or 10 minutes under. I don't want to speak facetiously.
And I mean, I can't really speak to how the book was because, of course, I didn't read the book, but I get the idea that it's a very long movie for a very long book, and I think that the runtime's probably appropriate, but it was very slow at some parts.
Santiago was not a fan.
It was alright. I was like starting to nod off towards the end because, like I said, it's a whole lot of movie.
If you're watching a 4-hour movie, you have to have complete buy-in.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be completely enthralled, invested, or else it's just going to be a little boring.
I would say if Santiago and I were watching this on our own, we would probably watch that over
5 sittings.
Yeah. We are a break movie into multiple. We're in the middle of a James Bond right now.
See, this is how I felt watching the premiere episode of Survivor 50. When I came over and we all found out that it was 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah. And to think we mixed the Zach Brown episode, too. We could have watched that as a group.
Oh, my gosh. And I'll be sad every day that we didn't.
Exactly. But we had Mr. Beast looming in front of us. Anyways, about this movie, two things I really liked. It was very faithful to the book. I thought everything important from the book made it in. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I think so too.
And I thought the acting was really fantastic.
Yes, this is an excellently cast film. There are a handful of other films that if I thought for a while, I could come up with something. But I don't know how many others are on this level of the actors are so tightly tied to the characters.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Vivian Leigh is Scarlett O'Hara. Mm-hmm. Clark Gable is Rhett Butler. And that just is how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the acting was probably the biggest highlight of the movie. I was having a hard time wrapping my head around how, they were glorifying the South and the Confederacy. And I love how... Because, I mean, it's 2026, of course, and just seeing how the quote-unquote political meetings are just whistle... What's it called?
Dog whistles.
A dog whistle for KKK, which was, wow.
Yeah. Maybe we should have looked that up if they were like, we don't want to say KKK in our movie, or if they tried to put it in, and maybe the studios were like, you can't say KKK in the movie.
Because they did say it in the book.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
In the book, they were like, we're in the KKK. Well, they didn't say that, but like, you know, you got it.
Yeah, I think maybe, like, when did that movie come out? The Birth of a Nation was the one that, like, truly was glorifying the KKK.
That was
maybe
earlier, I believe.
That was maybe, like, the 1910s, 1920s
I was going to say 1912 jumps out to me, but I don't... 1915.
Okay. 1915.
So that was 25-ish years prior to Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, so, like, just to think about it, how 25 years ago, before the movie came out, common in media and movies and in pop culture to just be like, oh yeah, it's those guys that do the KKK stuff. They're cool, I guess, but not anymore. It's 1930s. You can't have any hate mongers running around.
Well, we were busy not quite entering World War II, but thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, so there's other stuff that we were thinking about.
I find it really interesting how the film is an excellent representation of how the country was kind of going through like a bunch of like racialization changes at the time. So, them saying political movement instead of just blatantly saying the Ku Klux Klan, I think is a big representation of that. But at the same time, they're still kind of being truthful to the book and how it kind of glorifies the
lost
Confederacy.
cause.
Exactly. So something like that, of course, would never fly nowadays, but it's interesting seeing that gradual shift through times. Like maybe how would that movie be different if it was like filmed in the 60s or in the 80s or in the 90s,
Well, also the thing that I felt that I maybe picked up more having just read the book or maybe watching it in a group with people who I knew hadn't seen it before, but I never quite realized the difference in the portrayal on screen between Mammy and Prissy. It was really different. Because Mammy, obviously played by Hattie McDaniel, first African-American to win an acting Oscar, or any Oscar, I
believe,
think.
yeah.
She, obviously, her character is, a little one note. She's not on screen all of the time. But she has a lot of dignity. She has a lot of strength. She's seen as smarter and wiser than Scarlett. Rhett has respect for her. All of that. But Prissy is played by Butterfly McQueen as like such a joke. And it's kind of painful to watch some of the scenes that she's in. Not that the actress isn't doing a really good job, but the writing on those two characters is quite different. And they're like, definitely in this, Civil War movie, we need to have a character that's a slave to play for laughs. So, and that's from the book. So it's, but she has an outsized role in the movie compared to the book because they have fewer characters in the movie.
And this is a sidebar, but Grace, I just have to say, I always commend your ability to remember every actor's name in any movie we talk about on the pod, because you did that for Wuthering Heights too, and I was like, I don't know any of these names.
Genuinely, okay, not to backtrack too much, but the only reason that I could do it for Wuthering Heights is the actress that played Nellie, Hong Chow. Do you remember a couple years ago when what's her name from West Side Story went viral for singing that song at the BAFTAs? That was like, Angela Bassett did the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Hong Chow was in the song. So I've remembered her ever since.
I did not know she was in the song.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my sidebar over.
I missed that. I really enjoyed the movie. Definitely felt its length, but I didn't really feel like it dragged on any particular point. I agree with Santiago's point that it's just a long book. It warrants a long runtime.
Yeah, they didn't cut anything. There were a few times where they compressed things, and I think they did it wisely. Like, they combined... What was it? The overseer coming to try to buy Tara with the dad dying. In the book, those were two different things. We don't need them to be two different things. Some of the Scarlett running Tara was abbreviated, but you could still tell that she was doing it. All of that. You got everything you needed.
They got rid of her first two kids, but I think that was also fine because she just neglected the shit out of them in the book anyway.
Yeah, and you got the point across that she was not the most dedicated mother. Through only having the third kid.
Yeah.
And then they cut out the guy who came to marry her sister and run Tara, who you also don't really need.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Sorry to him, but, not important enough.
Ashley was less likable in the movie than in the book.
Ashley sucks.
Yeah.
I guess the only difference, really, because he acts the same, is that he looks old.
Yeah.
And, like, less visually handsome than Clark Gable.
Which is also, like, the point.
Yes, which is the point. You're right. Otherwise, he's kind of the same. And I liked how long and slow he talked so that you could get across that, like, he's just really living in the wasteland of his mind, Just a boring man.
I will say something funny that happened during the movie is, like, the midpoint right before intermission is when she was like, I will never be hungry again. And you said, listen, everyone, this is a really important scene. Everyone lock in. Hannah sat up in front of us, blocked the entire screen. We didn't see anything. We were sitting there. We're like, do we ask her to move?
Nice.
She was listening to directions. Because I think it was Ashley. Ashley was like, I have to leave.
Ashley, not of being in the movie.
Exactly. Ashley, data scientist Ashley Bell, had to leave. But of course, and she knows this, but I don't care. I want her to do what I want her to do. That I'll never be hungry again was coming. And there was some like chit chat of people getting up to say bye. And I was like, everyone stop. Everyone stop. We have to watch.
Hannah took that very literally and sat directly in front of us. And we had to like turn our heads all around her just to see the screen. My favorite parts of the movies was like when y'all were pointing out, hey, X, Y, and Z scene that's very important in the book is about to happen. Please pay attention. That really was a huge help.
Also, this is like a random nerd thing that I know, but I do know the American Film Institute has a list of top 100 most iconic movie quotes of all time, and Gone with the Wind has 3 on the list. So I was like, we got to hit them all.
What is the third one?
The lowest on the list is,
I know.
Tomorrow is Another Day. Then, As God Is My Witness, I'll Never Be Hungry Again. And then number 1 is Frankly, My Dear, I Don't Give a Damn.
Why did I forget about the ending quote, which was literally the quote on our podcast Instagram?
No, literally. No, but yeah. So I was like, this is the number 1. This is the first of the iconic quotes. The other 2 we're not getting for 2 more hours.
And as Grace is aware, we did rewatch the final, 7 minutes of this movie right before pod recording for a refresher. You know, it's a long movie.
Starting when, like, Melanie dies.
When Scarlett comes to tell. So, fresh on your mind, Santiago, what do you think of the ending that they don't end up together? Like, were you expecting that?
I was happy with that ending. I think that she was being so... Not leading him on, but... kind of just toying with his emotions in a way.
She's the worst.
She is the worst. And I was like, well, this dude clearly is dying to be, part of your life. And you're just kind of, maybe ditzing around and not necessarily giving him like a straight answer. So I thought the ending was good. I thought it was appropriate. And it just really showed some good character growth because what is she supposed to be like 18 years old in the movie or
when
something?
It starts, I think she's
16.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
and then it's,
this is a young girl, and it's also like weird because the guy in the movie looked to be, I don't know, 48.
In the book, I believe he was like 36?
It's still so weird. So I'm like, okay, well, this young girl, she's got a good future laid out for herself, and
does she?
I mean, she's got money. She's got a big old house. So I don't know. I thought it was an appropriate ending. I don't know what else to add to that. Besides that, I was content with it.
Well, in the meantime, Santiago, would you do me the favor, because I'm recording this on my cell phone, of pulling up both of our Letterboxd reviews?
Yeah.
And then I think it's time for our favorite game also of Hugh Jackman, Jonathan Bailey. But also, wait, I thought of one point I want to make before that, which is something we talked about during the movie.
Okay.
And ties into our Wuthering Heights review.
Okay.
Astoundingly like Kathy. Scarlett.
Yes.
Both that same, and both interesting because they're clearly played by women older than the character.
Yes.
So it takes a minute to get into, and I think I'm more fine with that with Gone with the Wind because it's an older movie.
It takes place over a long period of time too.
So my review was quoting something that they say often in the movie. Like,
start with the star count you gave it.
I gave it 3.5 stars. Like, it's fantastic acting. It just didn't grab my attention as much as I would have liked the movie to. Like, holy moly. Fiddle-Dee-Dee. This movie was whack, but baller acting. I wrote this in not the best of states.
The peach mixed drink he made was a little strong.
Oh, so good.
I will say 3.5 is well above our average rating for our movie poster.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I don't have that number off the top of my head, but
the final ranking when you're done with the poster is going to be so epic.
Well, what's tragic is we've only had Letterboxd for a year. So we have 2 years of movie poster movies and not accounted for. However, over half of them will be accounted for because we've watched the majority of them probably in like the last 5 months.
You've locked in.
Yeah, we really have. We've been in a movie kick for a while now. Aaron gave the movie 4.5 stars and says, "Frankly, my dear, I just don't give a doggy." And she had 0.5 star for Irish pride. Racist old Irish dad guy.
They were very much like, as in the book, Irish people only care about their land. And that is me and Santiago trying to buy a house.
And that's also what Maggie O'Farrell says, because her new book about Irish people is called Land.
Exactly. Okay, Santiago, if you can picture them in your mind, Hugh Jackman and Jonathan Bailey. Jonathan Bailey...
Did y'all see Wicked?
No. Santiago didn't want to go see Wicked with me because he saw the play. Jonathan Bailey was in Bridgerton. He's in the Jurassic Park we haven't seen yet.
Jonathan Bailey. Okay, so I see what he looks like. He kind of looks like a younger Hugh Jackman. What is he in? I don't... Okay, when it comes to... So for our audience who doesn't know, I know jack shiz about pop culture actors. I know jack shit about that. So when it comes to Jonathan Bailey, I'd need to see who he plays. He's in Wicked, Bridgerton, Fellow Travelers. I'm be honest with you guys, I have not seen most of these.
You could just do Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, I love that man. He's great.
He was in what's the movie that Hannah's favorite movie with the magicians.
Oh,
The Prestige?
The Prestige that we
yeah.
all watched together.
Yes, that was not on the poster, but I feel like it could have been.
Yeah. It could have been.
I think so.
I feel like it would have been like not like number one, but it could have snuck in at the bottom.
It kind of. Well, that's Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I think so.
I was about to say we already have a couple Christopher Nolan on there.
Yeah, we do.
So that could be why they do duplicate directors.
Yeah. Okay.
So who would you count? Who would you cast Hugh Jackman as?
Who in Gone with the Wind? Oh, the wealthy guy that goes to Charleston at the end. What's his name again?
Rhett Butler?
Yeah, I mean, of course. Because Hugh Jackman's got that aura.
See, I feel like there's one answer,
He got that swag when he walked.
and it's Mr. O'Hara.
It has to be the
Mr.
dad.
O'Hara?
If he's going to be anyone who's not Mr.
Yeah.
O'Hara, he would be Frank. He would be husband number 2.
He would be husband number 2.
Because he would be old, you know?
I think he's just the kind of guy that the main actress can pine for. I really do think, using Grace's favorite vocabulary, he's a very pineable kind of person.
I do like to say that.
Grace, who would you cast these two leading men as?
Well,
Obviously Hugh Jackman.
definitely Mr. O'Hara. Yeah. I don't think Jonathan Bailey is Rhett Butler material either. I think he just doesn't have that certain kind of swagger that's like,
That je ne sais quoi.
see, it's Rhett Butler's like, you love him, but you know he's a bad person a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think Jonathan Bailey's a bad person a little bit. I think he could, I hate to do it to him, but I do think he could be Ashley. I do think he could.
See, I think he could play both of the Tarleton twins.
Oh my gosh, in a dual role.
Dual role.
Just like Michael Jordan.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sorry, Michael B. Jordan.
Exactly. I think he could play both of the Tarleton boys. And I would cast Hugh Jackman as the father. And you know who I could also see as Rhett Butler? You're going to have to remind me his name.
Okay.
Who is the lead in Singing in the Rain? And I know it's an easy answer.
Fred Astaire?
That's not Fred Astaire at all.
Who's in that movie? I've never seen Singing in the Rain.
You
Really?
Oh, what?
This is the
I'm
most
sorry, I
Grace
thought that
movie
was
in the world.
one of your other top 3 favorite. Then we got to
It's
talk
your favorite movie.
Then we got to talk about what your favorite movies are.
I've told you so many times.
I know, but for the pod.
Why is it not coming up on IMDb?
TV, right?
Gene Kelly.
Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly could be Rhett Butler.
Grace never seeing Singing in the Rain is like me hearing Aaron say, I've never had a Diet Coke before.
That's honestly correct. I genuinely thought that was also in your top 3 favorite movies. You would love that movie.
No. By the way, A League of Their Own in Chicago.
Yes.
But no, I've never seen it.
It's always A League of Their Own. I forget because I haven't seen A League of Their Own.
And
so in my head, I
it doesn't
replaced it with
exist.
Singing in the Rain.
Because it's your favorite movie.
Got it.
No, okay.
That was also on the poster, by the way.
Oh, Singing in the Rain was on the poster?
As was my other favorite movie, Dirty Dancing.
Oh, fantastic movie.
As is my new 3rd favorite movie, The Godfather.
R.I.P. to Robert Duvall.
Oh, he died the day after we watched part 2.
Whew. Is he in part 2?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't
I
seen
don't
it.
know.
Yeah, they just make him much more bald.
For the John Travolta movies, I don't know, you can't beat Electric Cowboy, though. Excuse me, Urban Cowboy.
We watched Urban Cowboy last week.
With the electric mechanical bull. And
It's front of mind.
Which, might I just add, I know we are recording this a week in advance, but today was my first day at work. So to celebrate, we're going to the mechanical bull riding bar.
Woohoo!
Which I still have to make the event for.
And thank you for scheduling it around not only my trip home for Easter, but
Mhm.
also around gymnastics regionals.
Oh, of course. Anytime.
if John Travolta had to be an actor in Gone with the Wind, which character would he play?
Oh, God.
I have a genius idea.
Wait, young John Travolta or old John Travolta?
Young John Travolta.
Okay.
Oh, I have an idea for old.
Okay, what's your idea for old?
I think he should return to his starring role in Hairspray and do drag, and he should be Aunt Pitty Pat.
Oh!
He would kill.
He would kill.
He would destroy as Aunt Pitty Pat.
He would.
That's my
Fiddle-dee-dee,
answer.
man. Fiddle-dee-dee.
I don't know if I have an answer for young John Travolta now, because that one was so... Young John Travolta would be the first husband.
Charles Hamilton.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's what I got on
Mhm.
Gone with the Wind.
I think that the thing that we liked about the book is that it's so unique. Like, its characters are so unique, and the way that it unfolds and it ends especially is so unique. And they just managed to capture like the magic and the charisma of the characters in the
Mhm.
film.
I do actually have something else to say.
Okay.
I have two things to say.
Oh.
One, the coloring, the Technicolor in it. Oh,
Oh.
gorgeous. Amazing. It made the costumes really pop, and I love that.
Beautiful.
So it was just beautiful to watch. And also, this beat out Wizard of Oz, which I believe we talked about for Best Picture that year in the Oscars. 39?
39.
Yep.
39. I don't know if I just have such a fondness for the Wizard of Oz that, like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Mhm.
However, I could see it being very close between
Mhm.
both of them.
And I think also both of these movies were really regarded for their technical achievement,
Yes.
which is not something that we are really informed enough to speak on.
Mhm.
Great year for film. I think
Yeah.
widely regarded as one of the best years for film.
Absolutely.
So to wrap it up, if you could put Gone with the Wind in like 5 words, what would you say about Gone with the Wind?
Okay, well, one word does have to be racist.
Oh, I was thinking like the 5 words are like a phrase, like a sentence.
Oh.
Are they 5 different
Either
words?
or,
You
can say
go
creative
phrase,
liberty.
I'll go independent words.
See, to me, it doesn't hold up, but it does hold up. It's like watching
Okay.
Sex in the City. Like, you have to fully be prepared for knowing what it is. Like, oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about how they have a little announcement on HBO before you start, where they're basically like, this is a racist movie that does not represent the views of HBO, but we're keeping it on our streaming service because it's a great movie.
Like the Mad Men Blackface episode.
Exactly. Which is fine. I think it's funny that they've had like, I have personally seen at least 3 different versions of it. I'm like, okay, how many people are complaining to you about Gone with the Wind? Like, pick one and stick to it, you know? So it's the same as the book. You go in with the context, but also it's just a great piece of art, inclusive of the fact that it has all this negative baggage attached to it.
Yeah.
So you can't have one without the other. So you can debate whether or not you personally would enjoy Gone with the Wind, but it's not going anywhere in terms of the American film canon.
Mm-hmm. I would add on to that another thing that has aged both well and terribly, Desperate Housewives. But I would also add a lot of what I had said about the book in this regard, I think goes 1-to-1 with the movie. I think it is definitely like an epic tale in the zeitgeist of American pop culture. I think the story is just a really good and very developed one. I think the characters are incredibly developed. And I think you go in with it with the knowledge of, you know, here's the setting, here's what it's about. It is a period piece. It is set in the South during Civil War. And you take it or leave it as a medium you choose to engage with or not.
I will say also, this is really up there, like top tier of adaptations that I've seen.
Yeah.
As far as regardless of subject matter, like taking a book and making it into a movie, fantastic job.
Well, that's until we watch the Uglies movie.
Until we watch I've seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, until I watch the Uglies. Well, at least now I know what to expect from that. So,
Well, also, I haven't reread the book in a while.
Okay.
So actually, to be fair, until you see it. Very randomly, I feel like the two that I think in my head when I think about an excellent film adaptation, I think about Gone with the Wind and I think about Gone Girl.
yeah,
Like, that is a really good book to screen,
that's a good one.
you know? And that was also a marvel of casting. So
Yes.
it's a common denominator.
Santiago, how would you sum up Gone with the Wind?
A whole lot of movie. I think, a whole lot of movie. I think that encapsulates it all. It is a piece of American cinema that is like the epitome of classic cinema in the United States. It is extremely long. It's a whole lot of movie. It very much has captured the attention of millions and millions and millions of people. It'll be something that's going to be discussed forever and ever and ever and ever. And it's very iconic. It's not my cup of tea. It wasn't my favorite movie in the world. I had my issues with it, especially just given that I'm not hugely driven to watch like classic American cinema, but I think that it should be definitely respected for what it is. It's an accomplishment when it comes to the film industry, and it's a whole lot of movie.
Well, fiddle-dee-dee to that.
I think there's one important thing we need to say on closing, which is, unbeknownst to our listeners, we've been drinking wine slushies this whole time. And I think that at least our mothers would want to know that. So, Santiago, thank you for the wine slushies.
Of course, if you've been hitting little slurps here and
I was
there.
going to say, if you heard a gentle stirring in the background at all.
Yeah. So in this edition of Santiago being on the pod,
wine
slushies.
slushy time.
And we will also just add, it was originally just like wine and slushy mix. but then it was too frozen, so we added vermouth.
It was a great addition.
It's pretty good. It's got to melt down a little bit.
I'll be here for a little bit when we're done.
Oh, for
yes.
sure.
Oh, yes.
We got to enjoy some more.
All right. Well, with that, Grace, would you like to share what we're talking about next week? And actually, this means you're choosing the order of the next 2 episodes, so up to you.
All right. Well, Aaron and I, for the last time this season, because the season is going to end soon, are going to be talking about an adaptation of Hamnet.
Actually, 2 adaptations of Hamnet. We saw it both on stage and on screen.
Yes, and on screen a little while ago, so maybe that less thoroughly.
Yes, that will just be talking about who we would cast
Yes,
in it.
yes. So you'll have that to look forward to, or not if you're sick of hearing about Hamnet.
And then you can just wait to our final bonus episode where we will be revealing the theme for next season.
Ooh, so you just gotta wait till then.
All right, Santiago, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoy being part of the show whenever I can give my 2 cents about whatever the heck we might have read or watched.
And actually, I already have in mind an episode that you're going to be in next season.
Oh boy.
All right.
Until then.
Until then, happy potlucking.
Bye.
Bye-bye.